Okay, welcome to another episode of the Middle Aged Metalhead. Today, regular contributor Abhishek Sen is a little held up and he'll be joining us in a few minutes. But we've got a very special guest with us this Saturday morning. Anybody who's aware of the Indian metal scene should know Simon. He's been a mainstay of the Bangalore scene, organizing, setting up gigs, supporting bands, managing bands for more than a decade now. I'd say, one of the promoters who's consistently supported my band, Gin and Miskatonic, over the last 10, 12 years with gigs all across Bangalore. And Simon, welcome.
Yeah, man, thanks. Like solid.
How's it going?
All good, yeah. All great, yeah.
No. Okay. So let's get started and dive right into it, right? I know organizing a gig, especially in India and Bangalore, is not an easy thing. So, what made you do this? What was that starting point?
See, the absolute starting point was that I couldn't play an instrument. But I loved the fucking music. And what's the next step, Just start promoting bands, just get them going, you know. At one point in time, I realized, okay, in fact, I have an electric guitar, I have an amp at home, but I can't play it because I don't have the skills to do it. But I definitely want to hear, to experience it. And that's what made me go into making shows happen and stuff here.
Cool. Okay. So, it's been like, uh, what I'd say 12, 13 years since you started,
Yeah.
right? You've seen the Bangalore scene evolve, right? You've seen bands come and go. You've probably seen crowd also come and go, with maybe like a small minority that's stuck through the last 12, 13 years. What are some of the big changes that you've seen?
So it's like a wave experience, Gautam, right? So basically, what happens is there's always an ebb and flow, all right? You see guys come in, the old school guys sometimes don't stick around, all right? They have their own choices, they want to move ahead, and they probably want to leave the country for whatever reason. So there is always that ebb where you see like a lot of guys walking in. And then there's that flow where you experience, your people just walking out because they're not there anymore. All right. And then there are these new people walking in. But there is so much of, I don't know, there's so much of a bifurcation at this point that's happening where people are confused. So, yeah, I am totally cool with it, but that there is this scene happening. There are people walking in, there are people walking out, there are people not there anymore, and there are people who don't want even to come into this.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's like that,
Mhm.
and you can't help it. As an organizer, you can't force people to come into a gig, and yeah. Yeah, it's I know how to put into words, but it's kind of weird kind of situation.
Yeah.
And we are transported back to that situation where we have M number of gigs and people don't know where to go, what to do, and the we don't have that amount of money to spend.
Yeah. This was actually, I was going to ask you about this as well. I think this month there are about 5 gigs, maybe more, happening or happened already. Some tribute gigs, some regular gigs with bands. Like every weekend, there seem to be at least one, if not two gigs, right? Is there? Is there such a thing as too many gigs for the Bangalore scene? Or do
Of
you
course,
think,
of course, there is. Like, uh, see, back in the day when there were no gigs happening, there was a situation where people said we don't have gigs happening at all. And then there was the speed of time when there was gigs happening every other weekend. I think we are transported back in time, like I think we have come back in time where uh, we are doing shows for no reason at all. I think we should literally plan things out, like we should focus on shows that actually create artist value.
yeah,
Otherwise, where is there a gig if you're not creating an artist value? There is no organized no value. There is no audience value. The whole thing lies in the hands of the artist, and we have to create that value. And that is our job as an organizer. We have to create that value saying, listen, this artist is coming here, they are playing, you know. So that's the value that the ticket money also holds. It's not even a joke.
yeah. So, hey, Abhi, welcome. So,
Hi.
Simon and I were just talking about is there such a thing as too many gigs? And Simon's of the opinion, pretty much me as well, that yeah, there is. And the
Yeah.
Bangalore scene at least can only sustain a certain number of gigs, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, what point are we at in the scene right now? But
Yeah.
also, do you like with all the organizers in the scene, no, right? Right now, sometimes it feels like there are as many organizers now as there are bands. And do you guys like all get together and plan the stuff out, or is everyone pretty much doing their own thing?
So who's that question pointed at?
For you,
You,
Macha,
you.
all the questions are pointed for you only today.
For me, okay. Correct. Yeah. So no, we don't have we don't talk. We basically just throw dates. Sometimes when there is a gig organized, say for example, I had to have a gig at X point in time, and then there's another gig happening the next week, and I understand, okay, that person needs to do it for X, Y, Z reasons, and then I push that gig forward. All right, I move the date because uh, it's an inconvenience for the bands and everything, but this person wants to do it that day. He is not compatible with moving his stuff or making it a joint situation, right? So it's definitely a problem. Yeah, I mean, like there's no thought process. This is becoming, unfortunately, Calcutta.
Yeah, I was about to say or make the point rather that we keep seeing these flame wars, online that we keep hearing about, and it's very unsavory to see because, like we keep saying, our scene, despite it being so, or rather the scene in Bangalore, it being like in existence from way back when, ever since it's, the this kind of music started to play in India. But I still feel that we are still more civil that way. At least the organizers are. We are not airing our dirty laundry in public as some other scenes do. And it is becoming like very prevalent. Like just this week, right, GK, you and I were talking about like how many uh, gigs just this month
Yeah.
it's happening. And it's not like some random bands as well. There are some great bands. I mean, just at the end of September, you have DR coming down.
Yeah.
Regardless of how we feel, it's still a huge draw. But obviously, there's got to be someone who's going to be undercutting this. And unfortunately, that is what it is. And these are the things that we have to deal with, Simon, I guess. I mean, especially at someone at your position.
No, there is absolutely no opposition, man. See, the thing is, when we organize shows, we expect organizers to respect those dates.
Mm.
It's as simple as that. I
Yeah.
mean, nothing great. The other problem around this part of the place is that we don't have great venues to pull them off. We used to have one venue which royally fucked up. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to mince words there, right? We had one venue which, like, we did like multiple shows, like Spectral Decay and all. We killed it over there. And now we're not interested in doing shows there only for one reason. Why? Because there's no good sound. And now what has happened is that these club gigs have opened up their channels for metal shows. So everybody is doing everything everywhere wherever they can. That is basically what's happening at this point in time. And it requires some kind of a constraint, man. Like, see, we faced this situation back in 2012 where we were doing gigs left, right, and center, and then the whole scene got swallowed on. And then what we had to do was basically stop doing gigs,
Yeah.
which is now going to happen because it's like cannibalism. Like, you're eating yourself, and yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely going to happen, and that's the history, basically.
Yeah. Makes sense. If there were like some things you could change about our scene, what would those changes be?
I would not promote any kind of changes. I would just let the cannibalism happen. Like, that's it.
It's only from destruction that the creation happens again.
Uh,
But is there like I always wanted to ask you this, and I remember me starting this conversation the last time we met at the FHM gig. But for some reason, you know how it is during gigs. Is there like a specific reason why you're also, uh, transitioning towards the electronica and the noise aspect of it all?
yes, there is definitely a reason. The reason is because even the audience is starting to evolve,
Yeah.
right? So you can't stick on to the traditional metal and the new metal scene and all that. People want to listen to new things, and when you're looking at the new age kids, it only makes sense that they experience the old stuff and also the new stuff. So when you look at my shows, it's always been a mix.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
Never been straightforward XYZ, right? It's always been like a mix of, say, I've always brought in like uh, grind. I've brought in like a lot of heavy metal. I've brought in noise, and then brought in electronica. So slowly that transition has to happen because otherwise you're going to lose out on audience.
Yeah. And I think back in the day, you were the only one who was putting together a bill where a grind band like Grosty and a doom band like Jin would be playing the same evening.
Same
You
billion.
can't get two more opposite ends of the metal spectrum there. But yeah, it's
I
always
think you're also
been,
cultivating an audience that way because I see a
Yeah.
lot of people come in. I personally, I am not into noise at all. You know, I do like, I love some electronica, but that's more at the ambient and the dark synth perspective. But when I attended the couple of times I've seen the two of your shows where you had like noise artists, it made me go back and actually check out stuff like SNR Zero and the other guys which you had on like Ruhail and all
No,
of that.
Zero was not on my bill. That was on Kaushal's bill.
Sorry, yeah, cautious bit. I'm sorry, I met you there. But yeah, essentially, so the point remains that there is a lot of education of the audience also, which happens. Otherwise, we're just stuck between doom and grindcore and heavy metal and thrash and black and all of that. So I think that is also pertinent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we do not engage audience, then what's the point of doing a gig?
Yeah.
It's a question mark there. All right. And at this point in time, you have your audience in such a varied manner. All right. Uh, like, for example, this month, you have a Lamb of God tribute. You have XYZ tributes just happening. And that's happening like on a week on end basis. How is that even working out for people? How is that working out for organizers? How is that working out for, like, you know, people who are putting out shows? How are you engaging these people?
Mm.
Okay. It's a very basic uh question mark. Just because you want to do it doesn't mean you got to do it.
100%.
True. You were recently in Sri Lanka, right, for the last ODR gig.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like quite an iconic uh, series of gigs, I guess. And
Yeah.
did you see any differences in the scene between Sri Lanka
First,
and India?
yes, absolutely. First of all, the venue was mad. We don't have venues like that.
Okay.
The sound production was insanely crazy. Uh, I don't have anything to compare. You get what I'm saying, Gautam? Like, I don't have anything to compare from, forget India. Even Bangalore, I can't compare to Sri Lanka.
Mm.
It was that mad. It was that good. And hats off to Chatur and all the boys who put this across, like it was an experience. It was nothing like what I've seen over here. Nothing. Like an underground gig. That crazy was absolute mind blowing. And it was madness.
I think even from a crowd interaction perspective, I was speaking to some of the guys who had performed there. You know exactly who I'm speaking about, but they had mentioned that even the interaction GK that they had, was like they were they almost became emotional on stage as to
Oh.
see that kind of reception because even if they didn't know the songs, it was almost like a very rabid, feral, the actual true underground atmosphere, which they
Mhm.
created. I think, but which is something which I won't say is lacking, is I think is something that needs to be cultivated much more because the videos that I saw, the clips, they put out the entire show online,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was just maddening. I mean, just from a sound perspective,
Brutal,
from a
man.
crowd, yeah, it was wild.
Uh, I was there. I was there at that
Yeah,
wedding. And I was like experiencing this shit, and I was like thinking, what is preventing us from doing this stuff? What is it that is preventing us from doing this stuff that these guys have got? It's insanity. The loyalty that they have, the kind of push that they have towards this kind of music, the kind of, it doesn't matter whether you're playing death metal or you're playing, like, new metal or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. For them, it is, yes, my gig. I'm going to go and I'm going to support that fucking situation. One more thing is, Sri Lanka is a very tiny country, right? So you have these splits. Okay, there's southern Sri Lanka, there's northern Sri Lanka, there's eastern and western, whatever. But when there's a gig organized, all these buggers come inside and they fucking support the scene without a question. Now, we over here, just in Bangalore, are so divided that we cannot even understand which organizer is doing what gig at what time. Now, I announce a show, right? And then tomorrow there's another guy who is announcing another show. And then I call the guy up and I tell him, like, bro, like, really, like, within a week. And then I end up pushing my show to another date. So this is what is happening here. We have to be slightly more aligned.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
also true from an audience perspective? Do you think the audience is also divided? Because there's certain kind of audience who will only attend gigs when certain bands are playing.
Person. I mean, see, audiences do not understand where to go, what to do. And it's always about the money.
Hmm.
Bangalore's not a cheap place to live in, dude. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest. You want to take a cab from here to Sajapur, or you want to take a cab from. I live in Cooktown, right? So from Cooktown to Koramangala is easy $300.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you want to go grab a couple of drinks, say in a local bar, another, say, 600, $700. And then you pay cover charge over there, $500. And then you're already paying,
For the
your
ticket. Yeah.
price. So you basically end up paying about 5 grand, 5 to 6 grand on, a gig. And that's like, sometimes it's kind of rent for people, man, to live in a house.
Yeah. That's true.
So we have to understand, we should not encourage this situation. We have to down tune it. When I say down tune it, what I'm basically talking about is keep the gigs at minimum. That's where the thirst comes in. That's when people will
Sure.
want to spend that kind of money. It's not that you want to do a gig just because, it doesn't work that way at all. And I'm telling you, that's what I spoke about, no? We are cannibalizing ourselves, we are eating ourselves up. This, in fact, the Vehement era that I'm doing now will probably be the last gig for this year for me. I'll say namaste and I'll step out. Like, there's cryptopsy coming, dude. Like, on November
Yeah.
7th.
Yeah.
Who even knew about it?
We found out
People
yesterday.
have to save up for that.
Yeah.
People have to save up for that gig. Now, tell me who's 2 grand minimum
Easily.
just for the ticket. Now, just like it's a thought process, man. Like I'm just putting this out there.
I'm glad they mentioned Vehement era, Simon. I know you've spoken about diversity and it being always like a striking thing in all the gigs that you've designed, be it Spectral Decay and all of the other stuff that you've done in the past as well. I've attended a couple of Vehement eras in the past, and it's always featured this kind of lineup. But I feel personally that this is one of the biggest underground. I hate to word the word indie, but the biggest underground gig that just basis on the lineup that you guys have. So talk me through the vision and the thought process behind curating this particular lineup. And obviously, the venue we know it's in Kormangla. It's happening on the 30th of this month. The ticket links are in the description of this video if you watch it. So, what was that vision and the thought process behind curating this lineup?
So Kiran called me up, okay. He called me up, he said, dude, like, listen, I want to do a gig in Bangalore. And I was like, I wanted to do it, and at the same time, I didn't want to do it. Okay. To be honest. Uh, it took me at least a month to curate the lineup for this particular show. And I'll tell you why. Uh, there was, first of all, no venue that I could get immediately. So I could not confirm with Kiran saying, bro, listen, I have this venue, we can do XYZ. Didn't happen. Then what I did was basically I called Vino from X Repeat. Like he's my person. Right. I called him, I told him, bro, listen, there's this band from Bombay. It's a new band, and they want to play in Bangalore. And he was like, Siri macha panla, like, let's do it, you know. Uh, then he put me through to Nilesh and he confirmed it. Then I called Sriram. In fact, I actually spoke with GK, I think. GK, did I call you first or did I call? I called you, right?
No, I think it was Shri this time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No.
No, that was for the that's for the Black Sabbath tribute.
Vehement was Shri only, Macha.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I called Sriram and I told him, listen, dude, this is the scene. Do you want to play the gig? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then Taijin has always been a very, they have just played one of my gigs and they were like super tight, man, like super fucking inspirational. Like, it was for me as an organizer, for me to listen to them, they were like insane.
Yeah.
So I called this guy, but he was abroad. What's his name? Sharat.
Mhm.
He was
Yeah.
abroad. Then I called, I forget name.
Shashank.
Shank. Yeah, I called Shank. I called Shank. I told him, dude, this is the scene, this is the scene. They confirmed it. And that's how this lineup came up. And always, whenever I try to do a gig, Abhishek, it is one new band will come in, dude.
Yeah.
Without a question. One new band will always be there.
I know it's. I know you've still not made any announcements officially, but what is this here about a Black Sabbath thing?
Okay. Okay. Uh, I don't know. Yeah. So there is a gig happening on the 21st of September,
September.
which is a Black Sabbath tribute. The problem there is that I'm yet to figure out a venue.
Gotcha.
So I'm not getting dates. We'll figure. I will announce eventually.
Yeah. So I'm not going to press you on who are the bands being featured. Although I know maybe one member we have been, in fact, two members of said bands we've been in constant touch. Me and at least GK have been. So let's just see. But I really look forward to that because I think there have been a lot of Sabbath and Aussie tribute gigs, so as to say. I just wanted to ask you this as well, and this is a conversation that we within our various WhatsApp groups we keep discussing also. What is your stance as an audience member on tribute gigs, not as an organizer? So take that hat off.
See, uh, see, for me, tributes are tributes. Okay. We've lost Aussie, and obviously it's been like a insane inspiration for all of us. Like in terms of even listening to certain songs, like back in the day, like 10th standard and stuff too. Like Mama I'm Coming Home was one crazy ass song. And I didn't know who even sang it at that point. You get what I'm saying? Like when I know who's done it and the legacy that follows, uh for me it means a lot. Like uh it kind of brings me to tears sometimes. Like no more tears though. But anyways, um it was something we thought we should do, man. Some, you know, there were there are people who definitely don't agree to this. 100%, they don't agree to this because, of course, it means so much to them that a tribute means nothing.
Mm.
But as us, like people like us, who just dwelt on their music, like a little bit. I think it. I think we should, like, just say thank you. You know, yeah.
I think also for a lot of people, it'll be like a closure. I know it's over dramatic to say that, but I think it'll also be a closure because you'll meet a lot of friends, you'll meet a lot of bands that you've heard, and they'll be playing the kind of music that that's the common thread that ties the all of us together, and that'll be, I think, a bit of a closure to all of these things that have happened over so many years
I'm
listening to
not.
this kind of music.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a closure. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a closure. But I'm sure it's going to be something that people will relate with.
Huh.
Okay,
Fair.
because a closure is a very big word. It's something that you. I mean, I can't use it randomly. Get what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can probably say, okay, I did this. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. But I
Hmm.
would still sit and listen to Ozzy for him to give me. I don't know. It's not
Hmm.
going to be a closure for sure, but it's at least going to give me that purpose. Like, yeah, man, that dude lived his life like a maniac, and he lived it properly, and he closed it. I mean, like, I don't think there's any person in the history that has done what this man did. Back to the beginning was, in fact, the end.
Yeah.
It's extremely fucking deep. And I don't know how many people get this, but man, that guy died 15 days after he did his last gig. So you understand his investment in this genre of music. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You actually look at it. So it's madness, man. It's insanity.
Yeah, well said. But okay, to close things off, we'll move to a slightly lighter topic. Okay, so as an organizer, right, if you could curate your dream lineup, what bands would you put on it? They
I
have to still be playing. Yeah, yeah, yours. They have to still be active today. That's the only condition.
hope the only condition is to have a dream lineup with. active bands at this point, right?
Mhm.
Okay, first would be Metallica, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Uh, Zach Blabbett,
Okay. Little bit of cheating happening over there, but okay, fine.
yeah. Aspects for sure, with
Okay, huh.
without a question.
Mm.
Uh, Aspects would be right on top.
Yeah.
Uh, and the fourth would be maybe uh, pulmonary fibrosis or uh, say nausea.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to check if there were going to be any Indian bands on this list. Cool. Okay. So, Simon's latest gig is happening on the 30th of August at Bira Tap Room, Koramangala, Bangalore. You'll find ticket links and links to all the bands in the description below. If you're watching this, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and come watch a whole bunch of bands. There's Bego from Mumbai, Jiren Miskatonic, X Repeat X, Stygian Hallways, and Boom Culture. Who and you've seen interviews of a lot of these bands on this channel as well. You know what, you're in store for a good time. So come on down to Bira Tap Room, 30th August, Vehement Era, and we'll see you there. Thanks, Simon. This has been really good.
Thank
Always.
you, Simon.
ठीक है